Today, we're going to talk about one of the wildest, most audacious corporate strategies I have ever seen. We're talking about a software company, MicroStrategy, that is borrowing billions upon billions of dollars to become a Bitcoin behemoth. Is it pure genius or is it absolute madness? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's just start with the big central puzzle that has had the entire financial world scratching their heads. On the surface, this makes zero sense. Why would the smartest hedge funds and investors on the planet lend a company billions of dollars at 0% interest so that company can go out and buy an asset as famously volatile as Bitcoin? What is going on here?
And look, we're not talking about a small speculative bet. We're talking about more than $6 billion in debt. This is a full-throated, all-in commitment to acquiring as much Bitcoin as possible, and it's all being funded with other people's money.
So how in the world does this work? I mean, if these investors aren't getting any interest payments, what are they actually buying? Well, the secret is hidden inside the loan itself. See, they're not buying a safe, boring bond. They're buying chaos. They're buying volatility.
So the first trick up their sleeve is something called a convertible note. The easiest way to think about this is like a loan that comes with a free lottery ticket. The lender gives MicroStrategy cash, and in exchange, they get the option to convert that loan into company stock if the price takes off.
So what makes that lottery ticket so valuable? It's not the hope that the stock will just, slowly grind upwards. No. The value of an option like this gets supercharged by one thing and one thing only: volatility. The wilder the ride, the crazier the price swings, the more that ticket is worth. And right here, this reveals the real trade that's happening. The lenders are basically saying, hey, you can keep the interest payments. We don't care. What we want is a cheap way to bet on your stock's insane up and down swings. They're traders of volatility. And MicroStrategy has basically become the perfect casino for them. So why is their stock so unbelievably volatile? Well, it's because the entire company is basically engineered to be a leveraged bet on Bitcoin. They borrow money to buy it, which magnifies everything. So a 10% move up or down in Bitcoin can cause a massive, whiplash-inducing swing in MicroStrategy's stock price. And that amplification, that leverage, that is exactly what these lenders are paying for.
But there's a problem. These convertible notes, they have a huge weakness. They have an expiration date. All of these billions of dollars in debt, they eventually have to be paid back. So what happens if Bitcoin has a massive crash right before the bill is due? Well, to solve for that potential catastrophe, MicroStrategy had to evolve. And this evolution is just genius. They started issuing a totally different kind of debt, perpetual preferred stock. And this is a complete game changer. Just think about it. It's a loan where you only have to pay the interest, but you never have to pay back the original amount you borrowed. Ever. And this is how they build their financial fortress. By taking that ticking clock of repayment completely off the table, MicroStrategy can, in theory, survive any market crash. They could see Bitcoin's price get decimated, and they would never be forced to sell a single coin to pay back their debt. Okay, so we've talked about the financial engineering, the how they're doing this, but to really truly understand the strategy, you have to get the why. And this is where it stops being just a corporate plan and starts looking a lot more like a philosophical mission. This right here is the key to the whole thing. They don't see Bitcoin as just another stock to be traded for a profit. They genuinely believe they are living through a fundamental rewiring of the entire global financial system. See, in their worldview, Bitcoin isn't just a 10-year or a 100-year opportunity. No, they see it as a singular invention on the same level as fire or the wheel or the printing press, a technology that comes along once in a millennium and changes the course of human history forever. And the core belief driving all of this is the idea that our current currencies, like the US dollar, are fundamentally broken. They believe that central banks can and will print them into oblivion, constantly eroding your savings. But Bitcoin, with its unbreakable hard cap of 21 million coins, is seen as the perfect, incorruptible solution. So let's run a quick thought experiment. Let's say you invested in a top tech stock, and over 5 years, its price went up 30% when measured in US dollars. I mean,
You'd be pretty happy with that, right? That's a great investment by any normal standard. But here's the paradigm shift. If you believe that Bitcoin is the one true measure of value, you start pricing everything in Bitcoin. And from that perspective, holding that same fantastic stock meant you actually got 70% poorer. Your purchasing power in Bitcoin collapsed. You should have just held the Bitcoin.
So, if you believe all of that, if you think Bitcoin is the ultimate, final asset, what's your strategy? Well, the answer becomes brutally, elegantly simple. You acquire as much of it as you possibly can, and you never stop.
This quote just perfectly captures that mindset. See, for them, there's no such thing as a price for Bitcoin that's too high. Why? Because you're not buying it with the goal of selling it for more dollars later. You're buying it to escape a fiat system that you believe is programmed to lose value forever. And this whole strategy kicks off a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle, an accumulation flywheel. Step 1, they borrow money cheaply to buy Bitcoin. Step 2, the price of Bitcoin goes up, which makes their assets worth way more. Step 3, because their assets are worth more, lenders see them as less risky and offer them even cheaper debt. And what do they do with that? They go right back to step 1 and buy even more Bitcoin. It's a loop designed for perpetual growth.
The sheer ambition here is just staggering. Their publicly stated goal is to acquire up to 10% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist. A single company trying to control that much of a global monetary asset? I mean, that's a concentration of financial power that is totally unprecedented in modern history.
Which brings us right back to our final question. Are we watching a financial genius build a fortress for the next century, an ark to survive a coming flood? Or is this just the biggest, most leveraged gamble in corporate history, destined to end in a spectacular collapse? Honestly, the outcome is far from certain. But one thing is for sure, everybody is watching.